Ladies and gentlemen, seekers of light and secret knowledge wherever you may be, you are listening to Points of Light Radio, the podcast dedicated to taking you past the apron and behind the closed doors of lodges everywhere. And here is your host, Stan Miller.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Shalom, assalamu alaikum, adnastana. As always, it's a pleasure to be back with you here on Points of Light Radio. If you recall, at the beginning of this year, I told you I wanted to do more investigative type of segments, and I'm going to continue with that today by investigating two fraternal orders. One is defunct. Now, the other one is not defunct, but they have not, I can't seem to get them to appear here with me on Points of Light Radio, but that particular organization has morphed into, shall we say, it still exists, but in a different form today, right? So we're going to investigate, like I said, two fraternal orders today. The first one we will be investigating is the Ancient Order of Foresters, right? So just to give you some insight, the Ancient Order of Foresters, or as they are known today, like I said, this one is still around. It is called the Foresters Friendly Society, and it's a British friendly society that was formed in 1834. As I said, they're still around today, but so much has happened in between. So let's go investigate this organization, shall we? But as I always ask you, are you still thirsty for knowledge? Are you still searching for the light? Then you just trim your lamp and follow me. The Foresters were formed in Greater Manchester, England in August of 1834, when over 300 branches of the Royal Foresters Society, which was established in the 1700s, formed the new Ancient Order of Foresters. However, the earliest verifiable evidence of the Foresters' existence was 1790. There is a list that has been discovered of members of the Court Number 1, which met at the Old Crown Inn in Kirkdale in Leeds in 1790. Can you imagine that? That far back, right? Now, both men and women were entitled to become members, provided they were in work and over the age of 18, and that their application had been proposed and seconded by a member of the order. In 1815, the Ancient Order of Foresters emblem was devised, and it consisted of a shield divided by a cross and has an escutcheon, I hope I said that right, in the center with the bugle, horn, and bow and arrows, right, seen here. The form of personal regalia includes a sash, which sometimes known by foresters as a scarf. It was 6 inches wide and 2.5 inches long, and it was worn over the right shoulder and tied at the left of the waist, right? The society's local branches were called courts rather than lodges, and they were named after the law courts of the royal force and performed the ancient ritual of the society. The officers of the society used titles of the officials of the medieval forest courts. For example, Chief Ranger, Past Chief Ranger, Past District Chief Ranger, Sub-Chief Ranger, District Sub-Chief Ranger, Senior Beadle, Junior Beadle, Senior Woodward, Junior Woodward, and so on. In the late 19th century, forestry spread throughout the world, particularly to the British colonies, but also to the U.S. In 1892, the order was open to women with the formation of female courts, okay? And the Ancient Order of Foresters flourished in the 19th century. By 1895, They had over 4,899 courts and 731,442 members. And they engaged in general charity as well as providing financial support for their members. In 1874, the American and Canadian Foresters seceded from the ancient Order of Foresters and set up the Independent Order of Foresters. And it still operates as the Foresters Financial, and it's a fraternal benefit society headquartered in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, that provides life insurance and other financial solutions in Canada. The Independent Order of Foresters UK operation is now called Foresters Life, and it is based in Bromley, Kent. The next organization that we'll be investigating here is the Knights of Honor. Now, the origin of the Knights of Honor goes back to disputes in the state of Kentucky among the members of the Order of United American Mechanics and the Ancient Order of United Workmen. Dr. Darius Wilson was a Louisville physician and avid fraternalist. He was a Freemason and an Odd Fellow, as well as a member of the Order of United American Mechanics. And in 1872, he was elected to the state council. He was elected state council secretary for the Order of United American Mechanics of Kentucky. His work leading the Order of United American Mechanics made him so well known that he was approached by the leadership of the Ancient Order of United Workmen to help organize lodges for that order as well. Amazing how word got around with these organizations, right? And like members were invited in. They knew when a gentleman was doing good work like that. Well, Dr. Wilson was studying the ritual for the Ancient Order of United Workmen. He learned that the national leadership of the Ancient Order of United American Mechanics, the Order of United American Mechanics, had refused to charter a new council of its youth affiliate, the Junior Order of United American Mechanics, for reasons that he found offensive. So after becoming aware of this, Dr. Wilson sided with the youth. He resigned as secretary of the Kentucky Council and withdrew from the Order of United American Mechanics. Now, a local chapter around this time as well, a local chapter of the Junior Order of United American Mechanics had also surrendered its charter in protest over the actions of the senior order. Now, this posed a problem because members of the junior order who were only 18 to 21 years old at the time found themselves without a lodge, and none of the existing fraternal orders would accept them. So at the request of Council President J.A. Demery, Dr. Wilson drew up a constitution and helped the council reorganize as the Gold Lodge No. 1 Knights of Honor at a meeting held on June 30th, 1870. It's amazing how during this golden age of fraternalism that I talked about from about 1850 to 1900, people formed these organizations so quickly, like they just did. They were so used to doing the rituals within their own lodges, right? Memorization and so on, and they were members of so many different lodges that they knew how, after doing all that lodge work, to just form a lodge on their own. You wonder how they did it. Well, that was it. This gentleman was a member of so many different organizations. It just was easy for him to do that. Now, the Knights were organized along the same three-tier structure as most fraternal orders of the era. The local groups were subordinate lodges, the state or regional groups were called Grand Lodges, and the national authority was called the Supreme Lodge. In 1896, the Knights had 36 grand lodges and 2,600 subordinate lodges with the average of 50 members in each lodge. That's incredible, really, when you think about it. The national headquarters of the organization was in St. Louis, Missouri. Membership was open to all acceptable white men of good moral character who believed in God and were of good bodily health and able to support themselves and their family. In 1875, the Supreme Lodge created a female auxiliary called the Degree of Protection, open to the wives, mothers, and sisters and unmarried daughters of the Knights, as well as males who were already members of the Knights of Honor. The group was hit hard by the yellow fever epidemic of 1875 to 1878. People forget these, I say this to you, people forget how severe something like that would be in a society that really didn't even have a proper healthcare system, never mind never mind Medicare and things like that, even a setup of hospitals or anything else. In 1878 alone, the order had to pay out $385,000, a lot of money in those days, for death benefits for 193 members. They also dispersed large sums of money to sufferers of the yellow fever who were not even members of the Knights of Honor, which is a very honorable thing to do when you think about it. It matches up with their name. Now, over the next 18 years, the order steadily increased its membership. However, unlike fraternal orders, other fraternal orders of their day, they did not require prospective members to swear an oath in the initiation rite. But all the member had to do was promise to obey the rules of the order and protect a worthy brother in his adversities and afflictions. The secrecy of the order was declared to be only that which was necessary to keep intruders and unworthy men from gaining benefits. Right? Now, the Knights of Honor was one of the more successful fraternal benefits groups, and they reached 126,000 members by 1895. However, when the order upgraded its method of collecting fees for the insurance fund, many dropped their membership because the insurance cost more. Sound familiar? People don't like their lodge dues put up and things like that, or anything. Anytime people have to pay more, it kind of turns them off. Now, this was a common occurrence in other fraternal organizations as well, and many of the members would not accept the change that led to better actuary methods. By 1910, the number of subordinate lodges was down to 1,234. And by 1916, the order was forced to disband. So, what did we learn here, brothers and sisters? What are your thoughts? First of all, I absolutely love the Forster's regalia. I mean, that is amazing. I just love that. You know, you hear me say this all the time, but ritual and regalia, something I love about, there's just something about the more esoteric branches of fraternalism that just, and the regalia and the ritual, just amazing. And I just love that. And I would be interested to know if the Forster's Heritage Trust is still working the degrees and wearing that regalia. I would hope they still were, because it is part of the history of the organization. The Knights of Honor, on the other hand, I think what I got from that, what I gleaned from that was, unlike most fraternal orders of their day, they did not require prospective members to swear an oath in the initiation rite. Now, you've heard me say this before here on Points of Light Radio. Those oaths that you swear, that ritual that you go through, it binds you to your brothers, right? And I think it tells you something as well about the kind of people that might have been in this organization and been part of it, and where, there again, during the latter part of that golden age of fraternalism, the kind of people that were joining really didn't seem to have any connection. Maybe they were setting these organizations up too quickly, I don't know. But if you notice that what I said when it said when the order upgraded its method of collecting fees for the insurance fund, many dropped their membership because the insurance costs more. Now, I know in fraternalism, people don't like having their lodge dues increased, but this is an organization that during that epidemic had really shelled out quite a bit of money for its members and even its non-members. And for members at that point to start ducking out because of the fact that they didn't want to pay more fee. Well, it would be interesting to know by how much it went up, but still, this is an organization that had been there for you. So what it tells me is maybe some people that really, the fact that they got in, they joined this organization, didn't have to swear an oath, they felt no real connection to it, right? And I think that's sad. I mean, our lodges are there for us. We need to be there for our lodges, right? And I think there's a lesson in that for us. And I think that's where I'll leave it today. Before I go, I want to remind you that this podcast is available on both YouTube and Spreaker. Please share, like, and subscribe when viewing Points of Light Radio on YouTube. I also welcome your comments and input. You can follow Points of Light Radio on my Facebook page at facebook.com/Points of Light Radio. My Twitter handle is at PO Light Radio. You can see the link to my Spotify channel as well as my Points of Light Radio store. Brothers and sisters, this has been an honor to bring you this particular segment. And until we meet again, just step into the light.